Over the years, various documentaries, videos, and commentary pieces have circulated claims about hidden writings and private reflections attributed to Billy Graham. These narratives often suggest that after his passing in 2018, materials such as personal journals, letters, and private notes were reviewed by family members or close associates, revealing a more complex inner life than his public image suggested. While Billy Graham is widely recognized as one of the most influential evangelists of the 20th century, these accounts attempt to frame him not only as a global religious figure but also as a man who wrestled with doubt, pressure, and the burdens of leadership. In many retellings, his private study becomes a symbolic space representing both spiritual discipline and internal struggle. The idea is less about verified way secrets and more about contrasting public perception with private humanity. Whether taken as interpretation or dramatized storytelling, these narratives emphasize that even the most widely respected leaders can experience moments of uncertainty, reflection, and emotional complexity beneath their outward confidence. Early life on a North Carolina farm and formative discipline. Billy Graham's early life is consistently described in historical biographies as being shaped by rural upbringing in North Carolina. Raised on a dairy farm near Charlotte, he grew up in an environment defined by routine labor, early mornings, and physical responsibility. Daily chores such as milking cows before and after school instilled discipline and endurance from a young age. This agricultural lifestyle is often highlighted as a foundational influence on his later ability to manage demanding schedules and global travel in ministry. In addition to farm work, his upbringing included traditional family values and a structured household environment that emphasized obedience and hard work. As a teenager, he was not initially focused on religious pursuits but instead participated in typical youth interests such as sports and social activities. These early experiences are frequently used in storytelling to contrast his later transformation into a globally recognized preacher. The narrative of his youth therefore serves as a grounding chapter, illustrating how ordinary beginnings can precede extraordinary public influence when shaped by conviction, opportunity, and personal development over time. Spiritual turning point and commitment to ministry. A defining moment in Billy Graham's life is widely described as his conversion experience during a revival meeting led by evangelist Mordecai Ham. According to biographical accounts, Graham initially attended reluctantly, influenced by friends and circumstances rather than personal enthusiasm. However, during the event, he reportedly experienced a powerful emotional and spiritual response that led him to commit his life to Christian faith and evangelism. This moment is frequently portrayed as the catalyst that redirected his future from ordinary rural life toward global ministry. Following this experience, he pursued theological education and became increasingly involved in preaching and religious activities. His decision to dedicate his life to ministry is often framed as absolute and transformative, marking a clear separation between his earlier teenage uncertainty and his later identity as a preacher. This turning point is also used in broader narratives to emphasize themes of redemption and purpose, suggesting that major life directions can change dramatically through singular experiences of conviction or personal awakening. Education, early ministry struggles, and formation of preaching style. After his initial calling, Billy Graham's educational journey took him through several institutions, including short periods at schools such as Bob Jones College and later the Florida Bible Institute. Accounts of this phase often describe challenges adapting to strict academic and religious environments, as well as the difficulty of balancing education with developing preaching skills. During this time, he refined his communication style, learning how to connect with audiences through simple language, emotional appeal, and relatable imagery drawn from everyday life. This period is also where his foundational ministry identity began to take shape, blending formal theological instruction with practical evangelistic experience. Early preaching opportunities allowed him to test his approach in small gatherings before expanding to larger audiences. These formative years are often portrayed as a period of experimentation, growth, and occasional struggle, where he refined the delivery style that would later become central to his global success. His early development reflects how long-term influence is often built gradually through persistence and adaptation, rather than immediate recognition or success. Rise to national and global evangelical influence. Billy Graham's rise to international prominence is typically traced to his large-scale revival meetings in the late 1940s and early 1950s. One of the most frequently cited turning points is the Los Angeles Crusade, which reportedly drew unexpectedly large crowds and significant media attention. From that moment onward, his ministry expanded rapidly across the United States and eventually into other countries. He became known for organizing massive evangelistic events that combined preaching, music, and public engagement. His use of radio, television, and later satellite broadcasts allowed his message to reach audiences on an unprecedented scale for religious communication at the time. Over the decades, he conducted crusades in numerous countries and spoke to millions of people in person while reaching hundreds of millions more through media. This expansion established him as one of the most recognizable religious figures of the 20th century. His rise is often used as an example of how modern technology and communication strategies can transform traditional religious outreach into a global phenomenon. Political relationships and the Nixon-era controversies. Billy Graham's interactions with political leaders, especially U.S. President Richard Nixon, remain one of the most discussed aspects of his public life. Historical accounts show that Graham maintained relationships with multiple presidents, offering spiritual counsel while also engaging in moments that crossed into political discussion. His connection with Nixon became particularly complex, involving both personal visits and advisory conversations during a turbulent political period in American history. Some narratives suggest that Graham expressed strong support for Nixon before the Watergate scandal emerged, later experiencing emotional distress when the extent of political wrongdoing became public. Controversial recordings released years later also fueled debate about remarks made during private conversations, raising questions about the intersection of faith, influence, and political power. In later reflections, Graham acknowledged discomfort with aspects of political involvement, suggesting that close association with political authority carried risks for religious leaders. This phase of his life is often interpreted as a cautionary example of how spiritual leadership can become entangled with national politics and public controversy. Civil rights era actions and public criticism. Billy Graham's involvement during the American Civil Rights era is frequently described as both progressive and cautious. He is credited with taking public actions against segregation in his crusades by refusing to maintain racially separated seating arrangements at his events, a stance that placed him ahead of some contemporaries in evangelical circles. However, his broader approach to civil rights activism was often criticized as being too restrained. While he advocated for unity and spiritual equality, he was less directly involved in political activism compared to figures like Martin Luther King Jr. This created a tension between those who saw him as supportive of integration and those who felt he did not do enough to challenge systemic injustice. His emphasis on spiritual transformation over political protest shaped both his support base and his critics' perspectives. Over time, he reportedly reflected on these limitations, acknowledging that he may not have fully addressed the urgency of the movement. This dual legacy continues to shape how his role in civil rights history is evaluated. Personal doubts, private reflections, and interpretive narratives. Many modern retellings, including dramatized documentaries and commentary videos, suggest that Billy Graham experienced periods of personal doubt and internal struggle, particularly regarding theological questions and the pressures of public ministry. These accounts often refer to alleged private writings or reflections that indicate moments of uncertainty about doctrine, decision-making, and the emotional weight of leadership. It is important to note that such portrayals are frequently interpretive rather than definitively documented historical revelations. Nevertheless, they are used to present a more humanized image of Graham, one in which faith coexists with questioning and emotional complexity. This narrative emphasizes that even highly confident public speakers may privately wrestle with doubt, especially when responsible for large audiences and global expectations. The idea of internal conflict is often highlighted to show the psychological and spiritual demands placed on long-term leaders. Whether taken literally or symbolically, these themes contribute to a broader discussion about vulnerability, responsibility, and the human side of influential figures. Later years, health challenges, and evolving perspectives. In his later years, Billy Graham experienced significant health challenges, including age-related illnesses that gradually limited his public appearances. Despite these difficulties, he remained active in ministry in a reduced capacity, continuing to communicate messages of faith through written work and recorded sermons. During this period, he also became more reflective about his life choices, including his political associations and the evolving direction of evangelical Christianity. His ministry style softened in some respects, showing greater emphasis on unity among different Christian denominations rather than strict doctrinal separation. Family relationships, particularly his long marriage, are often highlighted as a stabilizing influence during this stage of life. His later reflections suggest a man increasingly focused on legacy, reconciliation, and spiritual continuity rather than expansion or public influence. This period is commonly portrayed as one of introspection, where the pace of public life slowed and personal evaluation became more prominent, shaping how his final years are remembered in both religious and historical contexts. Legacy, influence, and global impact of his ministry. Billy Graham's legacy is widely recognized as one of the most significant in modern evangelical history. Over several decades, he preached to vast audiences across continents and became one of the first religious leaders to fully embrace mass media as a central tool of ministry. His influence extended beyond sermons to include books, broadcasts, and global events that shaped evangelical outreach strategies worldwide. Many religious leaders cite him as a model for combining communication skills with organizational scale. At the same time, his legacy remains complex due to his political associations and differing views on social issues during his lifetime. Supporters emphasize his message of salvation, humility, and global unity, while critics examine his cautious approach to activism. Regardless of interpretation, his impact on modern Christianity and global religious communication is undeniable. His life story continues to be studied as an example of how personal belief systems can intersect with global influence, media evolution, and historical change. Faith, perseverance, and the enduring human struggle behind public greatness. One of the most compelling aspects of Billy Graham's story is the way his life reflects the universal struggle between public expectation and private perseverance. Throughout decades of ministry, he carried the immense responsibility of representing faith before millions of people while simultaneously managing personal pressures, criticism, exhaustion, and moments of uncertainty. This contrast between outward confidence and inward struggle is one reason his story continues to resonate across generations. Many people viewed him as a symbol of unwavering conviction, yet the broader accounts of his life suggest that perseverance, rather than perfection, defined much of his journey. His experiences reveal how influential figures are often shaped not only by triumphs but also by doubts, disappointments, and difficult decisions made under public scrutiny. Graham's ability to continue moving forward despite criticism, controversy, and personal reflection contributed significantly to the durability of his influence. Rather than diminishing his legacy, the acknowledgement of struggle makes his story more relatable and historically meaningful. His life demonstrates that leadership is rarely a simple path of certainty and success. Instead, it often involves ongoing growth, reassessment, humility, and endurance through changing cultural, political, and spiritual landscapes. Conclusion and reflection on the human side of leadership. The various narratives surrounding Billy Graham, including those focusing on private writings, doubts, and personal reflections, ultimately contribute to a broader understanding of leadership and human complexity. Whether viewed through strictly historical records or interpretive storytelling, his life illustrates the tension between public responsibility and private thought. Large-scale influence often comes with emotional, spiritual, and ethical pressures that are not always visible to audiences. These stories encourage reflection on how public figures are remembered and how much of their inner lives remain unseen. In Graham's case, his legacy is shaped not only by his public sermons and global reach but also by the continuing interpretations of his personal experiences and decisions. The result is a layered historical figure, one remembered for both certainty in message and complexity in human experience.